Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. This is live via Zoom to YouTube. Okay, today is the day that I do some channeling, and we're going to have a bit of a chat today as well. Well, we do that anyway, but channeling mixed in with chatting. Hey, Janine, good to see you first up. Good to see you. Okay, so honestly, it's been an interesting ride just recently, and the guidance or the messages that I'm receiving is pretty in depth. They're bringing up a lot about a rebirth and a new experience and inviting that in through surrendering. And it's one of those things, it's like we're in this funnel, or we're literally in the quickening of, like, there's so many times that this happens, and I feel like, oh, this is the point where we're in, we're meeting up with ourselves, and we're on a threshold, and we're going to pop out the other end, and it's all going to be roses. We're going to feel a lot better about ourselves. And honestly, when my guides took me through this journey back in late 1990s, after I found the gold bracelet, they did take me on this journey. There was this point that before I moved to Australia in 1998, where I was in the zone. And when you're in the zone constantly like that, you are predicting things. You can handle things a lot easier. It's because when an issue came up, which lots of issues came up just before the zone happened, it was to teach me to bring myself into central space again, into the love of who I am. And when I could do that quicker and quicker, my world became more expansive, because then you can take more risks. And that's the only reason why I could fly to Australia and take the hugest risk without the money, the finances, and everything. But it feels to me now that I'm here and I feel like I'm doing it with a lot more other people now. It feels, I can feel into the anxiety of a lot of us. And it's understandable, because we are starting to feel a lot more. So this is why I wanted to have a chat about it as well, because I wanted to bring up some of the experiences that I have been on, and understandings that I've found, and realizations where we are now compared to then. When they did take me, when I moved to Australia, they literally said, okay, training wheels off, you're on your own. And I'm like, ugh! and all these issues came up, and I felt like I had no help whatsoever for a while there. And I kind of went back into the mix again with everybody else, trying to find my way out, but knowing that I'd already done it, how I could do this again. Any case, here we are. And I think that was all prepped for me to do, so that when we come to this moment, do not give up. Do not give up. There is this underlining knowing at the end of the tunnel, where you are rebirthed into something new. And it's really cool how they were showing me this rebirth thing. So they brought me, this was yesterday when I was driving around. They were saying, when a baby is within the womb, there's like water around them. And they said this is because the baby is now growing into the material world, from the etheric world into the material world. And they are supported by the flow of the water and emotions, you might call, water does mean emotions and dreams and stuff like that. So it's like they're just bouncing in this kind of safety place where it feels quite floaty and that sort of thing. And then they said, when the water gets released, all of a sudden the womb will start to close in, obviously, on them, and they get to feel for the first time skin against the wall of the womb, and then they get squeezed through the funnel to be birthed right into this world. So they get to literally feel what it's like to be physical as they are being born. It's such an interesting way to look at birth. And they were telling me that this is what's happening with humanity's consciousness, is that instead, though, we are doing it the opposite way round, because we're living in the physical world, and we're asking to bring in, it's like half a death, because we don't want to leave the physical world. We still want to stay here so that we can bring the magic in. But then we have to learn how to feel properly again, feel into our feelings, into our intuition. And that can be really daunting when we have been pushing away our feelings for so long and just living in the physical world. But we can't find change within that physical world unless we bring in our feelings, because our feelings have communication to many other aspects of ourselves. And that's where we get all the wisdom coming through. So it's like the release of the water is like when we were purging all of the tears, the going through the ring of it, and finding and feeling and all of that sort of stuff. And when the water, we start to feel more and more, but we're feeling more and more into our etheric, our feelings. And it's quite a transition to go through. So imagining, going into the physical world and having, the baby's little mind and little heads squeezed through that funnel. We are literally feeling, as we get closer and closer, more and more of these feelings coming in, and the ones that don't, the feelings that don't resonate with love of ourselves, the ones that are oh, excuse me, the feelings that aren't resonating with that love are going to feel very awkward within our bodies, within our minds. The anxiousness that comes up, the parts of ourselves that we don't trust, the things that we don't trust, which is literally parts of ourselves that we don't trust. If we don't trust the future, we're having anxiety. Our logical mind is hanging on to a past event that happened, and it's projecting it into the future and expecting that same result because it can't shift it. And then we're asking to bring in the feeling of imagining a different story, and trying to resonate with the different story that we actually haven't even experienced. See how interesting this is, but also, difficult it could be. And we've got to keep patting ourselves on the back as we keep going through these transitions. But they are always saying it comes in waves. It's like, oh, literally, they showed me just like a baby is born, a pulse will happen with the mother as they go through the labor. Oh my gosh. And so we are having the same experience, but we are becoming more etheric in a physical world. And this is going to gift us balance, because we know that there's this magical essence of us that wants to reconnect. And when we are in a physical world with that connection of this magical essence, we can then see everything as physical, but also as the energetic alignment. And we can work with that because we have an acceptance of the energetic self in the physical world. Then we can also find the energy of all substances outside of us, they're telling me now. So when we can do that, we can manipulate. It's like a guru who could manifest something or shift something or move something tangibly with their minds, energetically. They raise their awareness into that, the feelings of themselves feeling into the material object as well. Connection happens. and then they can manipulate through their minds. It's really interesting what they're bringing in. But they want us to know that now, because if we start to realize that we have this ability or capability through our feelings to bring in magic, we can wield our reality, wield a new creation on earth. And we don't need to even concern ourselves with the material world that is fixed in a holding cell of what should happen. Kind of like even scientists have where, you know, they'll say, this is the story of metal. It is strong until water reaches it, and then it oxidizes, and then it turns to rust. And there's the story. And then everyone clicks in with their consciousness on this fixed story of how things move in this reality. So we've got a story, which is fantastic, but we can become above that story, and we can literally alchemize the metal into what we want it to become when we are in our feelings and connection with the metal, because everything that's physical is also malleable. It's just our fixed state of awareness or consciousness that creates it into a fixed position. And so when we are the observer above the fixed position, we become the connector, the collaborator, the creator, and we start to ask for magic to happen because we're not fixed in the fixed story of how life should be, where we have to do these logical I say mannerisms, I don't know why, but anyway, logical compartmentalized stages of things that has to be that specific way. And we literally have locked ourselves into that story as in our limited experience on earth. We have to get up, brush our teeth, put our clothes, go to work, get the money, come home, maybe have something fun to do if we feel not too tired, have our dinner, go to sleep. It's just the same old thing over and over. And that become very boring. And so we had people in this reality that become mischievous because their soul was like, I want more. And where can I find that? Oh my gosh. So when we're now in this funnel, of literally being birthed into a newness, it can feel very tight, like all your emotions start to come up again, and anxieties, and what the frick is happening now? I thought I cleared all this, but it is all the clearing that you've cleared. But then it's asking you to not fixate on that, to have control enough of your energy field to know that you don't need to go there. You don't need to stay there. You can shift it at any given minute. Because when we're in the flip side and we are born into this other frequency where now we are connected through our feelings, we don't want to bring in fear. We don't want to bring in anger. We don't want to bring in jealousies and compromising our own truths. And we don't want to bring in any of that. So that has to show up as we're squeezing through the canal of how are we actually interacting with our feelings? Are we going to be birthed into this new thing? Because otherwise, if you bring in those issues, those lack of loves, you won't want to be, because it will happen. It'll happen so quickly towards you, like your universe will rush towards you because you are in a higher frequency with that. You won't even be there. You will end up, the baby would probably pass on, you wouldn't be around, kind of thing. But it's not going to happen like that, the same. So just that, because too many of us have done too much work, and there's those that have already passed through, which are overseers already and having the experience. Now, we don't want to be in denial of ourselves that we are there when we're not there, either, because that can cause damage as well, where we are, if we're in any judgment of anyone, if we're in any alignment of judgment of someone, we aren't there. So if you're thinking you're better than somebody else, or you've made it, you're here, la la la, then you won't be, because when you're in that experience, it's like, how can I describe it? When they took me into that experience, it was just like life was accepted. It was like this peace. It was like just absolute chilled out experience. I can't explain it. It's something that you do have to feel. How can we explain that, team? It's like an absolute truth and knowing of oneself, and no fear is attached to that, because you already support it absolutely within yourself without anybody else telling you who you are. You know, when you make a decision, you are making the right decision for yourself. You know it. It's a knowing. So you come into this knowing. And so nobody else can make a dent in that. There was an experience that I had that I'll never forget, when they did flip me into that scenario, or they helped me. I started to just do beautiful poetry, creating a lot more. I started to do fun things that I'd never experienced before. I would take candles out to the balcony and watch the stars. And I started to really love my life, because I was creating this beautiful life. And I still went to work in that, but I was excited about being on my own and doing my own things, and creating. I created these poems, and then I molded clay around the outside of the frame, like it was a dragon poem. So I clayed out this dragon. I started to sell them in the shops and that, but when it comes to selling things, I didn't like that energy either. It's really interesting, but there was this poem, this dragon poem, and I didn't realize it would bring up emotion from my mother, and my mother read it, and I now realize why it brought up this really strong emotion with her. My mum is a very strong, beautiful soul. Strong, I mean strong. So she would not normally cry at all. Like she was an Aries, and she was determined, that sort of personality. But she read this and she just started crying. And instead of my usual self, which I would have been sympathetic, oh my God, what have I done? I shouldn't have made my mum cry, that sort of thing. It didn't turn out that way, because I had flipped into this other aspect of myself where I was all knowing and everything. I was great. There was this gratefulness of everything. There was this all knowing. There was this absolute, there was a feeling of just being and experiencing. And when she cried, instead, I said, oh my God, that's fantastic. Which, because that's what I felt in that moment. She's like, why would you say that when I'm crying? And I'm like, because I created a poem that invoked emotions. And isn't that beautiful? And I saw it from that point of view, and I didn't get entangled in my mother's emotions. I saw it as a beautiful event, and I still do when I look back at it. I don't see it as getting down on myself or making myself feel bad about the fact that I made my mum cry. See what I mean? The change that happens when and I'm bringing this up so that you understand, when you flip into this other, like a wholeness of yourself, when you are birthed into understanding that you can be this wholeness, your world becomes much more vaster. All of a sudden I used all my money to purchase tickets for my daughter to come and see me in the holidays. I used all my money to go to Australia, and yet I had nothing left, but I knew I was still going to be fine. Things like this would happen. And then I had this premonition as I was driving back home. Oh my God, I've got money to go when I'm in Australia. I've got money to help me, and it's in the letterbox. And then when I get to the letterbox, I open up the letterbox and it's not there. And I'm like, I was so knowing. I'm like, oh, mum grabbed it. Like I knew, and I didn't know that this was coming or anything like that, like logically, no. And I just went, oh, mum's taking it. She's grabbed it. She's put it on my TV. I literally saw a replaying in my head. So there's no anxiety. There's no worries because you just know that you're in the right zone for your universe to match you. And I did walk up to into my room and here it was on the TV. And I opened up the mail. And what do you know? $2,000 was gifted to me by something. I'm not saying what, but in any case, it was gifted. So I had the money, and I'm talking maybe a week and a half before I was flying out. This is how much I just was in the zone of trusting that everything was going to work out. Now, I don't feel like I'm quite there now. It's interesting. It's like I'm hanging in with the majority of people because I want to go through it with yous. If I go through it with yous, I can navigate through the feelings that aren't so good. And I think this is why my soul went through what it went through, to give you the heads up that keep on going. You're on the right track, even though you're feeling squeezed at the moment. Remember, I did this on my own with my spirit guides. We've got the whole of, like a lot of humanity is going through this, more than what you'd expect. It's not just for the star children, or it's not just for there is more this is happening to. So when we've got a lot of that happening in one big globule, like that, one bigger energy, we have to go with the flow of it and allow the experience. But if you, at least with this talk and with their guidance at this moment, we can see that we're not the only ones that are going through what we're going through. And I think that just relaxes us a lot more. It certainly helps just make you realize, okay, we're still on the right track. And this is okay, even if I am experiencing some anxiety. But whenever you do, as soon as you can pick it up that you're experiencing the anxiety, find out if it's coming from somewhere else, because your feelings are feeling a lot more. So you might be feeling somebody else that you love, or someone else that's coming in. I know last night I was, because I had a reading coming to me, and the person that I'm going to be reading has some anxiousness. So when you're feeling like that, we have to then find ways of bringing ourselves back. And I tend to imagine a cylinder of a mirror, or octagony shape of a mirror around me, and the mirror will reflect back out to the people, because it's already theirs anyway. And I don't absorb it so much, because then I'm in my bubble of my own experience. And so I get this release straight away when it's somebody else. Oh, okay, I'm back to me again. So then I know it's somebody else. But if it's still got that anxiety, it's something you have to look at, something that you are the one that's producing the anxiety. So you have to look at it. And it can be a bit of both, remember. So because we are mirrors and reflecting each other anyway. So yeah, is there any other messages that want to come through about this ascension process, please? At the moment, it's all going to happen anyway. This is happening. This is happening. Though it is happening, our focus is our main key point at the moment. Are we focusing on what we want to bring in and imagine? Not just our focus, but our feelings with that. When you've got your mind, body, and soul all collectively working towards the same outcome, it comes faster. It shows up. So you could be, yes, in your mind, I know where I'm going. My imagination can imagine that. But there's still something within your heart space or your body that's like, oh, I can remember that feeling when I thought I tried that before and it never worked. And I'm going to look like I've got egg on my face, and all these detrimental thoughts come in. Thoughts make the story creates the emotional release. Remember, the feels that we're talking about can be the observer of the emotions. I see that, I feel that emotion, but it's the observer of it. And then we can, with that control mind of understanding that you are the observer, change it. Okay, well, I don't like that feeling that's happening. So let's see if we can introduce a different feeling so that it can dull down the emotion that's already wheeling through my body as the chemicals are releasing. Sometimes we have to go through it as well. And when we go through it, we find what, if we go through it as the observer, we can pinpoint those stories of the past that we need to shift. There's so much happening at the moment. Different levels, they're saying different levels of awakening. People are in different levels of awakening, the awakening process as well. So those that are going through something could help others, but they're telling me the ones that are actually going through the funnel or the tunnel at the moment, the canal that's moving towards birthing a whole new you, bringing in the feelings and understanding more about your feelings, that those ones are probably going to want to hermetize themselves a little bit at the moment. It's like this one side wants to get out there, and then the other side's like, no, I need to honor and respect that I'm going through quite a lot at the moment, because you'll feel quite a lot. Yeah, even to the point of writing down, like start to try to ground some of this imagining, or make it a point every day that you at least imagine that beautiful scenario at least once, that you want to bring into your reality of what you want your life to be like. But yeah, this is something that's big that's happening to some of us, and I think that this this chat is more for those that are going through this process of starting to feel their feelings a lot more. If you haven't felt your feelings, all of a sudden you're feeling, it can be quite daunting. I was born in this world as an empath, so I already had that feeling. You could feel when remember too, is people don't stay in the same emotional reaction to you. So you might feel off somebody, a friend, that they're thinking something negative in that moment, then move away, but they could change it up within the next moment. Don't hold on to it yourself, because then you're just creating that scenario or that story that it's awful. I learned when I was a kid, I used to hang on to everyone's feelings and think that everyone hated me by the end of it, because I felt so much. And there was always a moment where my mum's like, or my sister's like, or my brother's like, because we're humans getting with each other because we're with ourselves, if you get what I mean. So, but being empathic and being immature, because I was only a kid, I held on to them. And then I just saw that the rest of the world hated me. No, you don't want to go down that reality. As you start to feel more, you have to be at least in that maturity space. That's why they asked. That's why they give us the pulsating energy alignment so that we can do the shadow work and not be blaming outside of us for anything. Just see it. It's an experience in the moment. Okay, I felt that. That's time for me to move away for a while because it's not, I don't want that to be part of my reality where I'm being judged or jealousy has come upon me or whatever it is. So step away from that and honor yourself in the energy alignment that you want to be in, because you can't help them if you go into the victimization of them being a perpetrator. You're creating that victim perpetrator world again. And we're literally learning to step out of the victim perpetrator world. We don't want within us fights going on anymore. This is why we can, when I took me into the pineal gland and took me into this new earth experience, there was a guard there, an elder that would just shoot you down if you were coming into the pineal gland with fear or anxiety or anything, into any sort of new world experience and into any leveling up of your self into more closer to source energies, love of self. We have to peel away those warlike fighting within us and fighting, which is everything else outside of us is just a mirror reflection of our own fights anyway within us. That's why humanity in some contents, some of us in many countries are finding new ways of dealing with the confrontation of wars, because we're finding new ways within ourselves of dealing with confrontation within a war within us. Yeah. Hey, everybody in the chat bar, Debbie, Linda, Erica, Vanda, Cherie, Diana. I said hello to Janine, Janine, Jenny. Good to see you, Vanda. Good to see you guys. Yeah, so it's take a breath. Take a breath. And come back to self and find things that make you feel good. If you're doing that, then you're bringing more happiness, you're infusing more happiness on humanity's consciousness. So the happier you become, the more you're actually helping. And you know how people are out there going, oh, I wish I could help all of these people, the poor people out there. And, you know, if you can't do it with happiness, then you're not adding to the experience of humanity's consciousness of bringing in more happiness. So I would look at that too. In other words, if you were like seeing some homeless person and you went into, oh my God, you poor thing, it's terrible, and you crying and you're just, well, that's something that you are releasing. Where that homeless person might be like learning something very valuable about the experience that he's in, and he might end up being an enlightened person on the other side of that quicker than you, because you're in that feel sorry for the rest of the world state rather than the happiness of yourself. And I love helping other people. I love seeing their experience and their funny faces, their smiles. It literally brings me to, and it can come across as a material thing. It certainly did for me. I went to a beautiful place called Redcliffe, not far from where I live, and It's like a beach, but it almost feels very new earthy experience there when you sit on the grass verge with everybody else eating away, and there's markets and all that sort of stuff. And my daughter and I went with my flatmate's dog, Penny, and yeah, and I decided to buy her some glasses. It'd be so cool if had the picture, but I don't, sorry. But anyway, these little sunglasses, and I put them on her, and she seemed fine with them. They seemed comfortable. They weren't like too tight. They had a band because she's got the floppy ears. They stay on, and she seemed fine with it. She didn't flinch too much or anything. So we purchased them. And I am so happy that I did that, because as we walk through the crowd, the amount of smiles that Penny created, the amount of, oh my God, look at that, it's so beautiful. And everyone just loved it. And it just like, I'll never forget this. This is cool. Can I take a photo? That sort of thing. It was just made their day, made their day. And this is what we've got to share, all these beautiful feelings, however it is, it's okay. If you're sharing happiness, it's good enough. We're raising that level of happiness in humanity's consciousness. There's enough judgment on this planet. We've got to stop with it. Just if it works to raise the level of happiness, then let it be. See things for that rather than judging. So any other messages that want to come through? Trying to think. I don't think that there is. I think that this is all that they wanted to share. So funny, because I thought it was going to be quite a long message because I had so much to get out. But okay, well, I'm going to just, generally, on a general note, I want to see what these higher cards, these are my higher New Earth cards. Generally, what kind of cards want to come out for the collective in this ascension period? We have quite a few that just kind of fell out. Do I take them? Okay, we take them. We have lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. Okay, so there's a lot of us that have come here specifically to do this. And we've been in other places, dimensions, planets, whatever you want to call them, scenarios where we've helped the evolutional process or the quickening of returning back to source energy before. And I think that there'll be a part of you that knows, even though you're going through some sort of anxiety or whatever it is, the feelings that have been brought up for you, that it's okay because you've done it before. You've done this before. And it's part of the game. Yeah, just like every baby that is born, if they are born, through the canal, birthing canal, they have to go through that experience of having their head squeezed and everything squeezed, and they feel into this world when that happens. What else have we got? We are heifers, deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. Oh my gosh. That's exactly what I was talking about. We're in the canal of this. We're being birthed again, but we're birthing the opposite way of being birthed into the physical world. We are birthing into our feelings. We're birthing into the etheric world, while still staying grounded on this world. Because we want to bring more love into the grounded physical world. That's the whole purpose. It's not that we're leaving 3D, we're expanding 3D. We're expanding into the higher dimensions, and it's going to give us a lot more balance upon ourselves, because when we go into the feelings, we also feel the love. Yeah. So I love it how the cards are matching, right? The talk that I just gave. Surrender to the sweetness, Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. And that's like what I was saying towards the end with the be happy and like move towards what makes you happy, because you're actually adding, you're actually helping humanity's consciousness raise their consciousness by doing those little things within yourself that take you into more happiness for yourself. Yeah, you're actually helping. You might not think you are, but you are, because can you imagine that if the collective was all focused in on being a victim, which we were in the past, it just became that victimization reality. When we start to all shift and focus into feeling happy with our life, then it literally up levels. Everyone else wants to feel that way as well. And so they ask, or they magnetize somebody who is feeling happy, and it brings out their happiness, it bleeds out to other people. Okay, see what else is coming up. Is there any more messages, please, for the ascension process of humanity at the moment? I'm feeling really calm. I've got this it's funny when I sit here and I channel, I get really lightheaded, but I feel really calm at the same time. This card is called the Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. The Seas of Mintaka, bringing unconsciousness to light. This is literally what we're doing. We're birthing into bringing more unconscious stuff. This is why the magic's going to happen, guys. It's because things aren't, even the physical world isn't as physical as it truly is, because it's our fixed position within our heads that create it that way. When we become more enlightened, so to speak, more closer to the love of self and feeling into more, everything becomes more energetically aligned as well, so that everything that we thought was fixed becomes the truth of itself, which is malleable. It's all malleable. Everything's malleable. Energy is energy, creating and dissolving and creating and dissolving and creating and dissolving. It's the nature of things. It's the nature of a tree and its leaves falling to the ground and dissolving and being fed back up to the tree again and being birthed into an apple. If you hold on to any of those moments, it becomes a problem. It becomes diseased. The apple that holds onto the branch becomes diseased. It's meant to be consumed. It's meant to be bitten and experienced, but it's also meant to be let go of, not held on to. Because if you hold on to an apple in your hand, it will, and you just leave it there, you don't experience it, you just leave it there. You're not actually experiencing it, but you're not letting go of it either. That apple rots in your hand, and it will end up causing abscesses if you left it there long enough on your hand, and it will rot through you. So it consumes itself anyway. So why not experience life? I like that. Why not experience life? It's okay. There is no good, bads, and all of that. It's just experiences happening, dissolving and creating and dissolving and creating. Always has been. It's our guilt that kept us in a fixed position. And then we started to see things rot. And then we said, this is bad. And then we tried to control it. But we never allowed it to surrender to it and experience it. This is what we've been asked to do at the moment. Any more messages with the Osho cards, please, for this general sharing? That's coming up a lot at the moment. Allowing the flow of abundance to come and be shared out. Don't, if we share it with love. Share it with love, because when you share something with love, love will come back. It will keep coming back to you. You will never be empty. Your cup will never be empty if you know that you are allowing the flow of life to be shared and experienced, and then it'll always come back to you because you're open to it. Through the sharing, you're open to the receiving as well, because you're just opened up from the heart space to share and receive. It's when we're like, oh, I'll share it, but am I, I probably should keep it for a rainy day, but and that tension when you share like that holds you in a vortex of, well, you're not going to have enough. This is the true essence of abundance seeping through, and understanding of the true essence of abundance isn't to do with what we hoard. It never was. As you know, in the fairy tales, dragons always hoard the gold. Or if you think about it, draconians or reptilians, they hoard that logical, out of balance mind hoards the gold. It doesn't experience though, because its whole life is protection of that. It doesn't have the freedom to fly off and experience and trust. There's a lot of messages too in the fairy tales. I'm going to probably bring up some of this in other masterclasses as well, I think. There's a lot of messages and signs in fairy tales. You have to see it from a different perspective. Is there any other messages for the group moment? Look, we have two opposing energies here. We have the compromise card. And they're looking all sleazy. I'll compromise my truth so that I can fit into your reality. Okay, it doesn't really feel good, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is what we've got to keep reminding ourselves. Does this feel good when we do it? Because if it doesn't, it's not matching your etheric vibration. It's not matching your soul. We do things, we don't feel good about them, but we're projecting and hoping that and doing that at that moment, it's going to feel good for us later on, but it doesn't feel good for us in the moment. So how can you expect it to feel good for you later on? You might get what you desired, but then you're moving on to the next thing, so you don't even celebrate it. It's just this whole compromising of feelings, and it doesn't work. We've got to start to feel into our feelings instead of compromising them. New vision. And that I'm not surprised to see that coming up, because this is like that new world expanding out from us. We're still grounded in this reality. We still have the roots planted in earth. That was the other message that came through. When you feel into earth with your feelings, you'll know that you're supported. She wants to support you, because otherwise you wouldn't exist here on this planet, in this dimension, in this reality. You wouldn't even exist here with the birds and the dirt and everything if she didn't want you here. So just your presence being here means that she is supporting you, because there has to be an energy alignment with you and her. So don't see yourself as something awful on earth, or humanity is something awful on earth. See it as a chance to expand earth's experience through you. It's different feeling there. Okay, guys, I think I will end here with the higher dimensional chat. Do you feel like something big is happening to you, chat and channelings? And open up for a couple of tarot for those in the chat bar. If you're leaving here, thank you so much for being part of this. If you stay, even though I'm reading for the chat bar, it could be a message for you. So if you want to stay and listen to the messages, they could be for you as well. So yeah, Janine, Jenny, 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 Jenny. Message for Jenny, please, in this moment. We have the Queen of Swords. It's flipped and gone back into the deck. I'll pull it out in a sec. I'd just like to go through at least once the whole thing, see if anything else wants to come out. The Queen of Swords, standing in one's truth and being nurturing about it. No, it's interesting because the Swords is very intellectual. Very intellectual. But then there's the Queen herself knows her truth, knows when to speak up. She nurtures her truth. She doesn't come down on herself. So maybe there's something within you that's needing to be expressed or not come down on. If you say it, you say it. So be it, and let it go. If you've said it and it's someone else is hurt by it or people judge you by it, so be it. Let it go. It's okay. You said it for purpose, because the Queen will always come from her heart. The World card, well, you have some really strong cards here because the World is the end of one cycle coming into another. Literally that rebirth happening for you. She's stepping into that, like that vision card that we had. I put it back in the deck, but oh, it might be at the top there. It looks very, to me, that World card looks very much similar to this one here, where she's standing on Earth, but she's learning to become more etheric within her body. So there could be that, and there's strength coming up for this. So you have to be strong about this. There's a strength about you that's just hanging in there, they're saying, but it's okay. You've got this. You can do this. Literally, I feel what I just read, what I just talked about is an experience that you're moving through. Okay, who else have we got here? Shireen. Cherie. Oh, I like that one. Okay, so we have two cards. I don't know what one of them is, but this one is the Sun. So positive times, happy times, coming into your happiness, joy, experiencing joy, deciding that's it. I want to enjoy my life now. That's going to help heaps. Look at this, a new thing coming in for you. Ace of Cups, a new emotional awareness about yourself, that this happiness can be yours because you've decided, because you choose that. You choose it, and it starts this whole new beginning. The Ace is always a new beginning in an emotional state. And it feels very, look at the new earthy kind of feel. And the fish around them, never even noticed that there's fish. So psychicness, fish and dreams can represent psychicness coming in for you, understanding of who you are, trusting your feelings, is coming up for you as well. Okay, Virginia. If anyone wants a one-on-one reading with me, my details are down below, and you can just go and book a reading on my website. The masterclasses are still for sale. It's coming to the end of the sale for them, but you can purchase them. I will be doing the first Zoom class on Wednesday, but there's 4 of them and they go over a whole month. So there's still time for you to look at the videos and come and chat to me, because you don't have to come to all of the Zoom calls. They're just spaced out like that for those that have started way back a month ago when they purchased them. So you only need to come to a couple of that, even one will do. But you're most welcome to come to all of them, obviously. Okay, so who are we reading for? Sorry, Virginia. Virginia. Might be something that you're protecting yourself against. I won't take all of those because this is just a short reading, but we did have this card falling out. This is the thief in the night. He wants to thief all the other people's swords to protect himself so that he doesn't get stabbed. So there might be a place like you're like, I just need to control this. And really, they're asking you to surrender instead. When we try to control it, it can come back at us because we are the ones holding all of that you controlled, and it can come back at you. So just be aware of that. More so go into oneself. The Four of Pentacles is someone who sits, they overprotect as well. It's an overprotection phase that you're going through. See what you're trying to protect. What are you trying to protect? And if it's in a physical way, ask if you can protect it from just your own self-support and knowing that your energy alignment won't allow that energy to come in at you. So there's a shift there for you to experience that. King of Cups has come up though, which is good. Someone might advise you from the heart. Somebody might come in and actually help guide you through this transition. Just be on the lookout for somebody who comes in and wants to help. If we're in overprotection, sometimes we don't even acknowledge those that actually want to help because we're overprotecting. Okay, so now we've got, and just be aware if it's not happening right now, this might be coming up for you for somebody coming in. It's only to shift you. It's only to shift you into this. It's like my anxiousness all came up and I had to really revisit it. And I realized that there's this will within my will, my solar plexus, my will of being here was completely repressed because if I allowed my will to come out, it would probably shatter everybody else's illusions of what this reality is like. And especially when I was a kid growing up, I learned to repress my will in amongst others. So it could be something like that for you as well. Okay, Justin. Any messages for Justin, please? We have also the Four of Pentacles. Gosh, you hear them shuffle, right? How many cards are there? And they come out again. I love that though. Might be overprotecting yourself too. There's not a natural flow when we do this. A hoarding of our own feelings or our own energies. I just want to get one more card for you. You have the Ace of Wands in reverse coming up. So there's action to be taken in a new beginning, but we might be holding on to something a bit too tight at the moment for it to be taken into action. I just had to say that. Yeah, I had a feeling that, Virginia, when I touched into you, that it wasn't ringing true for you at this moment. I think they're prepping you for something. Yeah, that's why I said that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad this Four of Pentacles is just flying out. Even I wasn't even thinking of reading for anyone. So everybody just be aware of what they're trying to hold on to keep safe. There might be like a collective experience here of trying to hoard or hold on to something to keep themselves safe, where you eventually need to let go and surrender. We need to surrender to become into this. So just be aware of that, everyone. Okay, who else have I got here? Okay, Dedra. Yeah, Joe, we have the Six of Cups, and when I was shuffling for you, I had a really good feeling then of this dream of a new world. So I think you're shifting quite a bit of your past, and you're allowing the new world to start to flow through you. This is new world can only come from the experience of feeling through your soul and the understanding of even other etheric worlds, and that you can ground. That your soul's journey's been on, experiences in past lives that felt really good. Feel into them if they wash over you, feel into it if they wash over you. Sorry, I just got another message for Virginia too. Something might come in for you that is going to cause you to overprotect yourself. Sorry, I just had to say that anyway. I don't mean to be rude to you, Deirdre, and it's just that sometimes these things fly in, and I if I don't say them, they can stay with me. I just rather say them. um, okay, yeah, right. So who else have we got? Debbie, 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 Debbie. I didn't miss you. Debbie. Okay, Debbie, we have the chariot. So we're finding balance so that we can move forward, because we can't move forward unless we do find balance within ourselves. We think that we can, but all it does is take us around in circles. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to move forward even though I'm not balanced. And if this horse here, the logical mind decides to move forward, this one doesn't really want to, it starts dragging, and then we end up going around in circles. So this is why it's really important at the moment for you to find your balance so that you can move forward, because there's something beautiful coming in for you, a gift. The Queen of Pentacles, she nurtures her abundance. She knows that she's abundant. So there's a self-realization that you can move forward into abundance. Oh, that feels really nice. A self-realization that you can move into abundance. A self-realization. I keep repeating it because I want to feel into it. It's a really nice feeling, and I want to keep it with me. So I'm kind of using your reading for myself. Okay. Okay, guys. What else have we got here that wants reading? Yeah. I can't pull it down anymore. So if I've missed anybody, I'm really sorry. The chat bar's doing its own thing, right? I have got Linda in my head, and this card flew out, so I'm gonna read, even though you've said good on Vidri, but you haven't actually asked for a reading, but I'm going to hope I'm not doing the wrong thing here. But you've got the world in reverse, so there could be something that you're feeling like things aren't moving, but they actually are. You feel like things are stagnating, but there's so much more going on in the etheric world for you at the moment. Sorry, I just feel it's like a feeling of it's all turning. But once sometimes things will turn in the etheric world, and then there's a waiting process for your physical self to catch up to that higher understanding. Be aware of your dreams. Your dreams could be telling you more than what you know. You're clearing something and asking you to clear something in the physical world so that you can attain the etheric touch up. I really feel the Palladian energy around me today. It's just this gentle, softness coming through. Okay. Any case, guys, I think I'll love you and leave you there. Um, don't forget, I do still have the masterclasses up for sale if anyone wants to jump in. And I'm so excited about how many of those sold. I didn't realize, like, I thought that there'd be a few that would sell because I'm not really pushing the advertisement, and I haven't, I'm not like got a big following, like a massive following or anything. I'm really so grateful for those that did purchase, because there's actually a few more than what I thought would happen. So I'm really happy about that. Thank you so, so, so much for supporting me and my work, and for, moving into your own self-empowerment as well, and asking to go further for yourself. So love you guys heaps. I don't think there's anything else to say. I do have a tarot reading coming up on Skeptic podcast with Robert Carl coming up soon. I think that's around the 10th of July. And I haven't heard back from Campbell yet, but he said he's getting back to me to come on his show again. So love you guys.